who is the best of the best all time for every Major League Baseball team. You know the guy, the face of the franchise, the all-time top dog. Well, we're going to go around the horn, and I'm going to give you my face of the franchise for every Major League team. And of course, if you disagree, make sure you comment down below. Let's go. We so rarely do this. Let's kick it off in the National League. How about an NL East? The Philadelphia Phillies has to be Mike Schmidt. Has to be. The third baseman is the all-time WAR leader for the Phillies. The best of the best. Easy pick. Mike Schmidt, Phillies. New York Mets were much, much tougher, but for me, the top guy, the guy who ran it, I think it has to be Tom Seaver. There's some arguments for the guys like Doc Gooden, David Wright, but I think all-time the best ace ever to come out of the Mets, Tom Seaver. The Atlanta Braves are another really, really easy one in my opinion. Maybe there's some development down the line with a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr. if he plays in their 10, 15 years in Atlanta. But it's Hank Aaron. He was the all-time home run leader for so long, 755 bombs. It's Hank Aaron, the face of the Braves. The Nationals are really tough because of the combined history with my favorite Montreal Expos. If you want to talk just Nationals, it has to be Mr. National, doesn't it? Ryan Zimmerman, fourth all-time across the organization in WAR. If you want to talk Montreal Expo, there's a lot of guys, but they got shortened a lot because of the strike in '94 and the departure of all those players. So the all-time great, I think it's got to be Tim Raines if you want to talk Expos, second in WAR all-time in the organization. So it's Zimmerman and Raines for the national organization. Another tough one is the Marlins because there's so few players that stay for a length of time. Has to be, I guess, Giancarlo Stanton, first all-time in career WAR with the organization, up to 35.7 WAR, all-time leader. I think it's got to be Giancarlo, an MVP with the team as well. Stanton has to be. Heading to the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers, it's Robin Yount. And I don't know, a lot of guys don't know a lot about Robin Yount, the Hall of Famer, but all-time WAR leader, played shortstop and center field, a tremendous, tremendous athlete, incredible talent. I think Robin Yount is the face of the Brewers. Long, long time in history for the Chicago Cubs. But how about Mr. Cub? Ernie Banks, first all-time in WAR for the organization. Sadly, never won a championship, but he's still the face of the Cubs. MLB Network left this guy off the top lineups for the organization. St. Louis Cardinals, there's a lot of argument for a guy like Yachty or Albert Pujols, maybe even Ozzie Smith, but I think you got to go back. It's Stan the Man Musial. I think it has to be Stan the Man. This is a tough one, a toss-up for me between Musial and Pujols. Pujols left. Stan didn't. He gets my nod. I know there's going to be some love shown for the old all-time greats. How about a guy like Honus Wagner? But for me, the Pittsburgh Pirates are a lot simpler. It's Roberto Clemente. The vast majority of fans that show up to PNC Park to support their Pirates don't walk across a bridge named by anybody else except Roberto Clemente. Cincinnati Reds is another bit of a toss-up. You could say Pete Rose, but I got to go Johnny Bench. The position factor is in here. All-time great. I'm not even going to include any scandal stuff in this in terms of betting. It still has to be, in my eyes, Johnny Bench as the all-time Cincinnati Red and the leader of that big red machine. There's some interesting choices in the National League West. Start it off with one that could be controversial. LA Dodgers, there's a lot of great names. Koufax, Kershaw. I think it's Jackie Robinson. I think it's still Jackie Robinson, and I think it always will be Jackie Robinson. San Diego Padres are really straightforward. It's Tony Gwynn, the best hitter to ever come out of the Padres, one of the best of all time. Tony Gwynn is indeed Mr. Padre. Because of the short lifespan of the Arizona Diamondbacks, this could be a bit of a challenge. For right now, it has to be Randy Johnson. I think in 10 years, there's a very legitimate argument that if he continues to play at a high level, this could become Corbin Carroll. But for right now, it's still the big unit. It's still 4 straight Cy Youngs. It's still Randy Johnson. I know it could be very easy with the Giants to forget some people. Obviously, guys like Willie McCovey. There's always going to be talk of Barry Bonds. But the all-time great, the say hey kid, Willie Mays, will always be the face of the franchise in San Francisco. Another relatively new organization, the Colorado Rockies, but they have their face of the franchise. It's Todd Helton. All-time great, Hall of Famer, every game is a Rocky. Todd Helton has to be the face of the franchise. Make sure you comment down below if you disagree with any of these National League guys. And of course, continue that conversation with our AL. Starting it off, let's go to the AL West. Very simple, Seattle Mariners. It's the sweet swing. It is the kid, Ken Griffey Jr. I know there's an argument maybe for Edgar Martinez, but it's Griffey. It has to be Griffey, one of the all-time greats. You could even make the argument for Ichiro, but I don't think Ichiro came in at the time in his career and longevity with the Mariners, so it's Griffey for me. The Houston Astros are very interesting because of the presence of guys like Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell, but I think it's become Jose Altuve because of the championships. I understand there's all kinds of controversy from 2017, but in the long run, the MVP, the longevity, I think Jose Altuve has become the guy for the Astros. Texas is a very interesting one as well. If Corey Seager had been there longer and stays longer, maybe it becomes Seager, but to me, it has to be Pudge Rodriguez at this time. MVP winner as a catcher, longevity, first all-time in WAR as a Ranger. It's Pudge for me. The Angels are a really interesting one as well because guys like Garrett Anderson and Tim Salmon won a championship in 2002, but it's Mike Trout. He has surpassed everybody in terms of statistics and numbers, and I know the injuries have hurt, and I know he's never won playoff games and series and championships, but Mike Trout is still the best Angel of all time and the face of that organization. The Athletics have a long storied tradition. They've had a bunch of guys come along the way, but players never stay there for a long time. But one guy kept coming back and back and back and is the all-time steals leader. Rickey Henderson is indeed the face of the franchise for the Athletics. Another franchise with a lot of longevity here that has not won very often, the Cleveland Guardians/Indians. There's been a lot of talented players come through the organization, but I think we now have a new face of the franchise, and it's Jose Ramirez. And his contract to stay even longer in Cleveland and possibly become a Guardian for life, I think has solidified his place as the face of this franchise. I know he wasn't a great person. I know there's a lot of issues with this. You have to go Detroit Tigers. You have to go with Ty Cobb. I know you probably want to go to Al Kaline as the all-time Tiger. I don't think Justin Verlander was around there long enough to really be able to name him as the face of the franchise all-time. So for me, it is still Ty Cobb as the true Tiger face. Kansas City Royals, there's an argument here, but not yet. It's still George Brett, and it's going to be George Brett for at least another 7 to 10 years. But there is a guy who could take this over. And I think if Bobby Witt Jr. continues to play his career in Kansas City, potentially for the next 10 years, maybe there becomes an argument as to who the greatest Royal is of all time. But for now, it's still George Brett. The White Sox can be a very challenging one as well. They didn't win for a very, very, very long time. But the big hurt is still the guy in Chicago, Frank Thomas, second all-time in WAR in the organization. You have to go all the way back to the real olds to find someone to surpass him. I understand a little bit more as a DH, but he still played a lot of time at first base. Frank Thomas is still the White Sox face of the franchise. Tough one with the Tampa Bay Rays because of the length of the organization, but it still has to be Evan Longoria at this time. Talk to me in 10 years. It might be Junior Caminero. We will see. Baltimore Orioles, the Iron Man. It's simple. It's Cal Ripken Jr., the face of the Orioles franchise, and will be for a very, very long time. The Boston Red Sox got a lot of history. Guys like Yaz, Big Papi. You can argue maybe Manny Ramirez, Pedro. But it's simple. It's Ted Williams. And it's going to be Ted Williams forever unless someone along the line from the Red Sox organization figures out to hit 400. But it's Ted Williams, possibly forever. The Yankees are a real interesting one. You could make the argument for a lot of players because of all the winning. I could even see Aaron Judge and his unique talents in this day and age that are far superior to so many of his peers. But the face of the franchise of the New York Yankees, it's really hard to argue. I think it has to be Babe Ruth. It's the most recognizable name in Major League Baseball history. The all-time home run leader for so long. The 60 home run season that lasted for so long. I just think it has to be Babe Ruth. And lastly, we have my favorite team, the Toronto Blue Jays. And I'm going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's already changed. I think it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. If he had won a World Series and he was only about 2 to 3 inches away, if Vladdy had won a World Series, I think there's no dispute on that. You go back to the guys who won in 92-93. most of them were not around for very long. The guys of the 80s didn't win. The Jose Bautista, Josh Donaldson led teams, they didn't win. Unfortunately, Vladdy came up about 3 inches short, but the Blue Jays had won the World Series. I think Vladdy is moving into that role, and with a 14-year contract signed and a no trade movement and $500 million due to him, I think Vladdy is the guy now, and if he's not, he will be in 3 years. There you have it. There's all my faces the franchise of every Major League team. If you disagree, make sure you comment down below, like, share, and subscribe to the video. I greatly appreciate all your guys' support. And until next time, take care, everyone.